Hey, everybody. So, normally we would wait about 15 minutes in to do like intros, but we're only going to wait about 5. If they haven't trickled in by now, I can't help them. I posted all the places, I did all the things. It's really all I can do at this point. But while we do wait, let me know how everybody's weekend went.
My weekend was it was both very eventful and very uneventful. I had a lot of plans and they were all pretty chill.
Emmy, there's a loud buzzing coming from you.
I apologize. It is my laptop dying. I don't think there's anything I can do for that. Sorry.
You're right. Is there something I can do for it?
I should.
Oh.
I do have the background noise thing on.
Yeah, it seems a lot quieter now.
Because I quieted it.
Oh, well, there we go.
Awesome. All right, that's as good as we're going to be able to get it because we still need to be able to hear Emmy.
Apologies, my laptop has been the fan is going.
Sounds like the fan is dying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on its last life. Woohoo! No, nor will I be responding to any more such jokes. Yes, it was a childhood favorite of many people's. Hellos. Woohoo! Hey, Ray. Oh, Matt, you were telling us about your weekend.
Oh, yeah. Right, that old thing. Yeah, I mean, I've spent the whole month of April catching up with all the friends I did not see for all of March. So it was just a lot of grabbing coffee, grabbing drinks, watching The Mummy. I had a friend come over to watch The Mummy with me.
Nice.
Yeah,
How was your
weekend,
Emily?
Well, we had a long weekend, so we had an extra day because of Anzac Day. Oh God, such a busy weekend. I went out with friends for dinner on Friday. I went to an engagement party and did the bride-to-be's wedding for the engagement party on Saturday. Sunday, went to pick up my son from my sister-in-law's farm. And then Monday, we went and saw Sonic 2. So
Nice.
Aiden's first time at the cinema. That was fun.
Aw, it's a great first movie. My weekend was not packed, but we took the kids to the park on Saturday and then we took them to the library on Sunday. So it was Saturday, I'm going to watch The Mummy. I am too hot and brain dead. Sunday, we were going to watch The Mummy, but we went from the library to get some dinner and then snow cones. And then there was a little flea market and we stopped by there. So then I came home and I was brain dead and I was like, no, I'm not doing it today. Because I like to take notes for the Let's Talks. So I spent all day today stressing how am I going to fit the 2-hour film into my day. But I did. So we're good. Hello. Yes. It is a favorite of many, which is why it won in the poll quite overwhelmingly. Hello, Cadence.
Because it is best movie.
It's so good. Hey, oh wait, we already took care of that. Well, as well as we can. Hey, Haley, it's fine. We started late. Jenna says she can't hear the buzzing, so it might just be headphones to no headphones, depending on how someone's listening. My weekend was very chill. my day today, though, I have done so many tasks. About to do more. Woohoo! I had that. That happened to my last one. It happened to mine too. Woohoo! Oh my gosh! Hi everyone. Hope y'all are going well. Working on fan art for the TSC. God, I can't letters now. Art contest. Which, if y'all don't know, Jenna is having an art contest for the Savior's Champion, and it's ongoing until I think she said May 4th. And yeah, there are awesome prizes. I've seen some of the exclusive merch. Well, I mean, like, when I haven't seen it personally, just when she told me she was ordering it. It's awesome. Partying.
That wasn't on the weekend. It doesn't count. That was during the week. Cody's gonna turn the buzz into a beat.
I think the buzz is actually like my cooling thing. I think the fans in that are going, but it's stopping my laptop fan from going off, which actually sounds like a jet engine. So
we are not.
It could be worse.
All right, so go ahead and introduce yourselves.
There's a window there. I'm Matt Hollon. I'm a fantasy author working on my debut dark fantasy adventure novel. I also have a dark fantasy pirate short story that you can find in Sasha Black's The Rebel Diaries anthology. It's down there below in the old link tree. You can also find a link on my Instagram, which is also down there. You can find it on Sasha Black's Instagram. The anthology features both my story, The White Harvester, and 12 other amazing rebel villainy stories that you can read and enjoy. And it's like, the ebook's like $5, so just go buy it. And follow me on social media down there.
Okay. Oh, me now?
Yeah.
I am Emily Olivieri, or Emmy, whichever you prefer.
Just off speed.
And
Sorry.
I have a not so great YouTube channel, and yeah. I guess because Sam's going to do it anyway. Also, dark fantasy author. My book is out. Enjoy.
Ooh.
And what's it called? Because I will never remember it.
Ashwood and Brimstone.
Ooh.
Yes.
And it is the only one of that title on Amazon. So
the cover is gorgeous. And I am writing Mom Samantha Nasset. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things. On Mondays, I host live streams, sometimes like this, where we talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. Other times, we have productivity sprints, chat, have a good time. Matt is indeed one of our regulars. I don't normally point this out, but I mean, there's a reason for today. But when I post content, I will start posting again on Thursdays, but I have chronic migraines and they give me brain fog and fatigue, and they just make living life in general hard. But we're getting there. If you would like to read a sample of my writing so that you know that I am not completely full of shit when I talk about writing advice, you can go to my website, SamanthaLNasset.com, where I have samples, where I have a spooky flash fiction called Until Pizza, Do Us Part. And while you're there, if you would like to, you can sign up to my newsletter to keep up to date with all things Sam, including my writing event that Jessica Williamson and I run. Well, it's our writing event. I don't want her to yell at me for that. Which we will be doing an announcement live stream for the June dates next Friday on the Worldwide Writeathon's official YouTube channel. I forgot what it was for a second.
Dubba.
Yes. If you would like to help support the channel, help support the stream, you can like down below, subscribe, and ring-a-ding that bell to stay alerted to all of my live streams and content. And if you would like to maybe tip, my Ko-fi is also listed down below.
Give Sam money.
And yes, today we're going to be doing Let's Talk about the 1999 version of The Mummy. Yes, I had to be very specific about that this whole time because I was reminded that there was a new one that came out. But also,
no, we don't talk about that one, please.
No, we're not. I haven't even seen it. Like, I forgot it existed.
Neither have I, and I will never.
I think my hottest take of the evening is going to be that I don't hate that movie. I don't like that movie. I don't hate that movie.
I haven't seen that movie. I have no opinion on that movie.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is in it, therefore it's instantly in my
Tom
bad
Cruise
books.
is in
So.
it.
So we're not
That
talking
movie.
about that movie that I don't know anything about.
That's
Is what we just agreed to.
Okay. All I will say
And
though,
when people were like, "So are we talking about the original movie?" To me, that's the black and white one. So I had to be very specific with which one we were talking about.
Yeah.
So
and I will self-promote that I do have a video on my channel comparing the 1930s Mummy, the 1999 Mummy, and a short story written by oh my god, what is her name? I always forget her name. Louisa May Alcott? Is that it?
That sounds correct.
The Little Women author?
I don't know from there, but it sounds
She has a Mummy short story, and I just basically compare the three kind of things and talk about things that are common in them and blah, 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 blah.
I have to go watch that video now. But all right, we're going to catch up on chat real quick before we go into our first question.
Yeah, Stieg is killing me in chat.
I was outside all weekend with the kids, and surprisingly, I'm not sunburnt despite my beacon skin that would light up under a black light. I love you, Natalie. I don't remember where I was up there, so we're just going to keep going down from here. Hello. Yeah, Matt has fans, then why is this room always hot?
I need more.
See, but Stieg and Matt have a deep love-hate relationship that goes back
to
the ages. Neither of them will admit to the other half. That's what happens when you rent a room in hell. Yep, give Sam money. Wait, to complain about what? Hold on. Oh, wait. Yes, you complain at me all the time. This is... Sir!
Let's talk volume 2.
We're gonna do it. Let's talk, like, in parentheses, the not mummy, right after we do let's talk the disappointing truth about the rise of Hannibal.
Oh, and God. How he doesn't get superpowers in it.
Emily, first, did you see the Silence of the Lamb? Let's talk.
No.
So for reference, Matt and I had never seen that movie before, and we watched it, and then somebody in chat was like, there's a prequel called The Rise of Hannibal, and we're like, wait a second, is it like this like super cool comic book hero thing? We like had a whole thing going.
Yeah.
And then people are like, no, it's just about why he likes the taste of people, and they're like, you're gonna be shocked. And I'm like, why? Which, spoiler for anybody who didn't come here for it, but it's because he like ate his sister and enjoyed it, and I was like, that's it, that's all it is. Bish! The Rise of Hannibal sounds too cool for that.
Ew, why did he eat his sister? Was she like abusive or something?
No, he was like forced. He was forced to eat her.
Oh, that's right. And
then I guess he was kind of like, wow, that was better than I thought, and like made it his thing.
we haven't seen it. We were just disappointed.
Okay.
It was a comic book thing. Just had to stop in for a second to say hi. Hey, hope everyone has a fun time. Woohoo! And then, indeed, I enjoyed the first and second one. I also controversially enjoyed the Scorpion King.
I haven't seen any of them but the first one, actually.
Is it the second one?
No, Mummy Returns.
That's right.
And then there's Scorpion King. I love Scorpion King. Oh my god, that movie is amazing.
The Mummy Returns, Scorpion King, then the Dragon Emperor.
Well, Scorpion King was a spin-off, so.
The Mummy 2 is the one with the Scorpion King, and then that was spin-off.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Scorpion King got its own film outside of it.
His what?
Tablet.
Oh, no, upstairs.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, I don't know. Oh, wait, maybe I do. Hey. I've never seen this movie. That's fine. That is absolutely not a requirement to be here. We have so many people who don't see the movies who come here for the conversation.
But just know I am highly offended.
Emily is personal. We moved our whole stream schedule for her so she can be offended at everybody who hasn't seen it. He's wearing 9 different shirts. Hannibal Rising. Whatever. Point is,
Point is, he's not a superhero or villain.
The title's
if
too
not,
cool
what's
for
the
him.
point?
I think it was that he didn't know he was eating her until after, and they were like starving to death. I don't know. Like I said, somebody just told me, I would be shocked and appalled, and I was not.
Yeah. Everybody's just kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, he eats people. Like, I figured it wouldn't be a great origin.
They gravely underestimated me or overestimated my empathy. One of the two.
Yeah, like, yeah, damn, that would suck.
Oh man, she was so abusive. So you just cut her out of your life. No, I cut her up.
I mean, it's happened.
I think I enjoyed it, but I can't honestly say I remember enough of it to say.
The Yetis were good. They were the saving grace, but that movie was still terrible.
I am notorious for like not caring if a movie is terrible or not. I base it solely if I had a good time. If I had a good time, it was fine with me.
I'm usually the same, but when it's my favorite series, then I'm like, no, you betrayed me.
You betrayed. It's a little deeper
than it's me with Pirates of the Caribbean 4 as well. I'm like, that movie doesn't exist.
All right, so in order to know about how have seen Mummy, in order to know how in depth I need to go into our summary. And then for those of you who don't want to call me things, I'll just put a simple yes and no. I can add things together. Because I'll do a basic summary, but if we have a lot of people who haven't seen it, it requires a more in-depth summary. I own the first 3. Any of the movies after don't count. I also enjoy the cartoon spin-off series.
There's a...
what are we talking about right now?
The Mummy.
There's a cartoon?
There's a spin-off series?
There's a cartoon, yeah.
Wow.
This did not air in Australia.
I don't remember if it aired here or if it was just on a streaming service. Yes, Mummy is alive. It follows their son.
What? Hang on a second. Oh, no, I did. No, this did exist. I did watch this. No, I did watch this.
Emily's like, excuse me as I leave the stream now. See you all later.
See you guys.
I'm going to rewatch this because I do remember it, but I feel like it got...
What's the cartoon called, Emily?
It's just called The Mummy.
Oh, okay. Mummy's Life must have been...
Yeah, The Mummy, Quest for the Lost Scrolls. Although I think that's a movie. That's a movie of the cartoon.
So again,
The
we're not going to stay too much on the later movies, but they didn't recast her by choice. She felt she was offended because they kept time skipping. Like the second movie takes place so many years after the first one, and the third one takes so many years after the second one. And she was offended that they asked her to play a character that was so old. And she was like, I will not. So, which I don't know how I feel on that. Because on the one hand, I'm like, I get it. But on the other hand, lady, they're asking you because you were the first 2. They're not saying you look old. Or I don't know, maybe one of them was really rude and was just like, yeah, you look old enough. So we don't know. We weren't there. But that is why she was recast.
I think she was also banking on Aragon being more successful than it was. Because she was the voice of the dragon in that.
Oh, she was.
Yeah. So I think she was kind of like, oh no, I'm already in this big fantasy series. I can't do any more. And then, well, that went.
Aragon would have been just fine had they not changed an entirely crucial plot point.
I've never read it or seen the movie to a point where I actually paid attention to it. So
we'll do a Let's Talk Aragon one day, and I
saw it
as
a little kid before I hadn't read the books, and I went and saw it with my brother and his friend who had read the books, and they were so angry at the end of the movie, and I was like 8 or something, however old I was when it came out, and I'm just like, I thought it was fun, and they're like, no, it didn't follow the book.
My brothers were kind of like, oh, it was fun. And I was like, I just remember it being terrible, but the Archer guy was hot.
So
that's all I remember.
There might have been like multiple things because like I don't know. Like I said, when I was looking into it, that was all that I had seen. But I do not claim I did a deep dive. I did a simple Google search and read 2 articles that what's the word? They supported each other. They said the same thing. So I was like,
I wouldn't be surprised if she had issues with the script because her character was completely not the same. In the first one, she's very
we're
doing
gonna
everything for
discuss that.
herself,
Hold
taking
on.
charge. And then the second movie, she still take charge, and then that one, they nuked her character, and I hate it.
I'm working on some writing right now, and since you guys are writers, I need a writer's opinion on this. Should my title be The Monsters at Our Doors or The Hall of Monsters? Well, one, we can't really answer that without knowing what your story is about. And two, welcome to Hard Ass Sam Streams. We don't really talk about writing and writing advice when we're doing a Let's Talk. We talk about the subject of the Let's Talk. So
that's fair. I just jumped in there with my opinion.
Which sucks for us, but I also support her decision to fight. Yes. And now she's the head widow. All right, so it appears that a lot of people have seen the movie. So I'm just going to do a very basic, excuse me, a very basic rundown of the plot. And that's, so the movie starts with kind of a prologue type thing where it shows in the setup for ancient Egypt. We are narrated by the wonderful Magi Ardith. Yes, his name is Ardith.
Ardith Bey.
Yeah, and he narrates for us that in ancient Egypt, which a fun fact, ancient Egypt was actually more commonly known as Kemet, which means black sands because of the fertile soils of the Nile. But I digress. In ancient Egypt, there was a priest called Imhotep, and he was the priest of the dead. And there's the pharaoh's mistress, Anck-su-namun, who, let me tell you, the confidence she walks around in just body paint and that little skirt, I love her. I love how she walks into the room and she's like, yeah, what? I'm just wearing paint, what of it? But then, of course, she and Imhotep got a little thing going on, and he can't keep his hands off, so he, fucks up the paint. His priest, which I need more background on his relation with his priest, because they're his ride or die. And we got, 6 of them trying to hold these doors shut. And then the pharaoh just pushes them. That pharaoh is so damn strong. I'm like, there are 6 men closing that door, and he just, it's nothing. Slams open these golden doors, and he's like, what the fuck are all these priests doing in my mistress's room? It's weird. And so he looks for her, and then he's like, boo, what's going on? Who fucked up your paint? Was it one of those priests? He doesn't ask that, but I swear his eyes did. And then Anck-su-namun's just like, I wasn't given lines for this part. Arnold, you gonna pop in the screen here? And then Imhotep comes in and he stabs the pharaoh, and then she tells him to run, and he doesn't want to run, but his priests drag his ass out, which then the pharaoh's guards come in, and she's all like, my body's not his temple anymore, and just kills herself. Well, no, first she tells him he's the only one who can resurrect her. So I'm like, she's playing the long game. She's like, so I'll be
she
back.
knows her shit.
I'll be back better. And so then, he gets away and everything. They steal her corpse, which I don't know if they didn't have time to mummify her or they just didn't mummify her because she murdered the pharaoh, but she was not yet mummified. Because, she wasn't wrapped up or anything. So, she had her embalming jars, but she herself was, just in these black robes. But
I think it's also, because the priests would have been the ones to perform the mummification. So I wonder if it was, under the guise that they were going there to mummify her.
They had other priests
and then they
who could do it, because other priests would later, embalm everybody there. So... like I said, I don't know if they just didn't have time, because it was that the next day or that night. Like it implies it happens like this, but it's still a little weird that she has her embalming jars, but she's not mummified. But either way, they so
they are on the old.
Yeah, they're on the older. See, it's weird. But
I
anyway,
have a lot of questions
about
with
that.
how the movie does mummification at the beginning, but we can get to that later.
I may have
They
answers.
also have too many jars as well, so
that is true. But
because there's only meant to be like 5, and they have like 6.
But
I
sorry.
wrote it in my
Yes.
notes.
So he goes to oh, somebody else has notes. I'm excited. He goes to bring her back to life. He's like got through everything. Can I just say I also really enjoy the computer graphics for how like her soul is done and everything. It's so like wonderfully watery and wraith like. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Very
And
like
then-
the Frighteners. I like it.
Yeah. And so he like goes to bring her back. He's almost done. He's just gotta like kill somebody. I didn't see a human sacrifice, so I don't know who he was gonna stab. Probably one of his priests. Poor fuckers. But like the Pharaoh's army comes in and everything, and they're like, "How we got you red-handed, motherfucker!" And they're all going to do like they're getting punished. Her soul goes back to the underworld. The priests are all mummified alive, which is horrifying on so many levels. And they prefer, is it the Hyundai? The Hyundai?
Hyundai.
Hyundai. On him, which I have in my notes right here. Yeah, the Hyundai, it's a curse where they mummify you alive, feed you to scarabs in the sarcophagus, and it creates an undead who never rest. But like on the flip side, if he comes back, he will arise a walking disease, a plague upon mankind, an unholy flesh eater with the strength of ages, power over the sands, and the glory of the invincible, or in the glory of invincibility. And it's like, was it really that bad that we want to take that risk?
Yeah, like.
But also, like, why would you give that like power to the guy you're trying to get rid of?
Like, if it were me, I would have bonked him on the head really, really hard and called it a day.
It's just like they just done him like they did his priest, but no, but like it's kind of, and I assume that like the satisfaction they get out of this is knowing that he lives on forever as an undead, so he can't like find peace in here or the afterlife. But like,
well, I think ancient Egypt like has a hell, if I'm not mistaken, in their mythology.
Do the afterlife. Well,
so
kind of.
It's like, yeah,
so
it's just like you.
The afterlife isn't really a hell because you kind of only get in if you're a good person. If you're a bad person, the crocodile eats you.
So just send him to go get eaten by the crocodile. They didn't like him. They would have assumed he was gonna go to crocodile hell.
But whoever ordered it was thinking to the second movie. Wanted this man to suffer. So I'll just say, was it worth it? Was it worth it? But yeah, so then there's that. Then we go to prologue part 2, which we still got the Magi narrating 3,000 years later. He's like Hamunaptra, which is the temple city thing. They call it a city, but it's kind of like a temple. And it's the city of the dead, ancient burial ground of the sons of the pharaohs, and resting place for the wealth of Egypt. That's where like they buried him and everything. The Magi, which are Pharaoh's guards in modern day, a secret society that like watches over Hamunaptra, and they're just like watching these two factions fight at Hamunaptra, and then when one has definitively killed the other, they go in and wipe the rest of them out. I'm like, this is effective war tactics. But Brandon Fraser's character, Rick O'Connell. Yeah. They call him O'Connell throughout the whole movie, but that's the half of the name I can't remember. So he and like his friend Benny are the only of his garrison left. This poor fucker tries to help Benny so many times, and every time Benny, they are the frog and the scorpion. Benny is the scorpion, but he keeps trying. Yeah. But yeah, so then like Rick sees Imhotep mummy doing sand things, and then just pieces the fuck out. And then we go to the beginning of the plot, which is Evelyn in the museum trying to shelve things and then knocking over a whole ass library of shelves. And her brother like comes in and he's got a puzzle key that they figure out has the map to Hamunaptra. They really want to go there. I'm going to try to speed past the rest of this explanation. And then they go and they free Rick O'Connell from jail. She buys his freedom. And then he's going to lead them to Hamunaptra. There's also a team of the Americans that is going to race there. They're led by Benny. And it's just a race to get there. And then they get there. They find the book. They find other things. They unleash the mummy, who is now going to go eat all of the Americans who opened the embalming box. And then they're trying to leave, only to realize, can't outrun the mummy. Mummy's done ate all the Americans. And now they gotta go back to Hamunaptra to find the golden book so that they can defeat the mummy. And then they do, and they have to run to escape. And then poor Jonathan can't even get a kiss from a camel, but his sister is hooking up with the adventure guy. And that is the rest of the movie that I summarized in 2 minutes. I'm very invested in the ancient part, but yeah, it's also very heavily romantic. Like the romance is really prevalent, and I love how the romance is done, and it's so good, so sweet, all of it. Let me catch up on chat real quick. Well, welcome. We're glad that you made it. The scarab oh my god, yes! I have a note in my thing where it's like, the body horror! I just know. No, please. Fucking burrowing scarab beetles. I just feel like we should all be watching Moon Knight now. Screw Benny. That's very fair. Alright, so what did we think of the movie, and did we find it enjoyable? Is what we will say first.
Who you want to start? Me?
Either of you, yes.
I can start. So this is my third time watching this movie in my life.
Mm-hmm.
All relatively recently. The first time I watched this movie, I really didn't like it, and here's why. I was in the worst mood when I watched it, and I was like a junior in college studying English, so I was at just peak pretentious. So that's why I didn't like the movie then. I have since become better, and I've seen it a second and third time. Love this movie. This movie's fantastic.
It is just taste.
Yes, I've acquired taste, and this movie's fantastic. It is like peak adventuring, and just like, I don't want to say like this is what fiction is supposed to be, because that's not true to other fiction. It's not fair to other fiction, but it's so just fun. Like, it is just such a fun movie with fun characters doing fun adventure stuff, perfect escapism, and I love it.
Yes.
Are we going to me now?
Yes, we're going.
Okay.
I'm always laughing because I talk so much.
That's fair. I will probably talk so much because this is my favorite movie of all time. I have seen it. I've been watching it practically my whole life. Like, from the year it came out onward, I've seen it probably over 1,000 times. It's like my go-to. I can literally finish it and then go back to the beginning and watch it all the way through.
Yes,
and I
so
have
good.
done that multiple times, just the whole day, just watching and rewatching The Mummy. I feel like it is the perfect balance of every element that's in it. So, like, you've got the fantasy, the historical, that's not so accurate, but then you've got, you know, the adventure, the romance, the bits of body horror, you know, all of that stuff. I feel like is like the perfect balance that I like in movies. And it's a masterpiece. I love it. Some of like watching it the other day more critically. Some of the acting not so great, mostly from Rachel, I will say. But everyone else is
Poor
like
Rachel getting so picked on.
absolutely amazing, and I love it so much, and it's great. And I feel like this is the movie that sparked my obsession with Egypt. So all through primary school, high school, everything, I read like every single Egyptian history book that was available in school libraries and everything. And it just, like sparked the lifelong obsession. To be fair, the second movie, I would say I like a little bit more. But only because this movie scared me as a child. So I would still watch it all the time, but it did terrify me. And I found the second one was more okay, even though it should probably be a little more scary. But since watching this one again as like a teenager and everything, I was like, no, this is the good one. This is amazing.
This is the good one.
So, yeah.
So we have Nothing But Mummy Love. And as to the cat thing, let me tell you, as a child, it was like, oh, cats are the guardians of the dead in Egypt. Yeah, cool. For years, I thought this to be true. It is not true. I was lied to. But it's okay, because I'm not watching this movie for historical accuracy. And before today, I never really watched it, like, critically. But today I was, like, taking my notes for the Let's Talk, and I always try to watch with a more analytical or critical eye when I do that. And suddenly I was like, these tasty, tasty plot holes. Why does Eve keep falling asleep off screen? How come whenever I go back to her, she is asleep? Questionable, but it's fine. It's fine. It's one of those things where it's like
day.
nothing is 100% perfect, but it's
but I feel like even after you could watch it critically, you're still like,
it's still a great
that was
movie.
a great movie.
Yeah. I'm just saying I noticed new things today that I had not noticed before. And that is a testament to how good it is. Because normally I notice those things regardless.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like Anaxinamoon not being mummified. Should have been something I caught before now. But no, I didn't catch it until today. But it's fine. It is what it is, and it happens. There was another thing I was going. I promised I had a segue. I'm just trying to remember what it was, but I can't. So we're gonna go to favorite character. Oh wait, Matt, you had questions about the beginning. What were your questions?
So, okay, mummifying someone alive.
I think I've seen this.
It's so good.
And if it's the one I'm thinking of, yes, highly recommend. Go watch it, everybody. We're sorry, Matt. Go on.
No, you're good. So mummifying someone alive.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The process of mummification is you remove their organs, then you salt them, and then you wrap them in linen. So you remove their organs and they die. So and then when it gets to the capital M mummy, they're like, we mummified him. Then we have the scarabs eat him. I'm like, he was dead before that. You just wrapped him up. You didn't mummify him. You just wrapped him up.
Technically, I think you would actually survive because they don't take out the heart. They take out the brain.
Hold on, I have answers. So, firstly, with what they did to Imhotep, you're gonna have to suspend some disbelief.
Sure.
That he somehow survived being eaten alive by scarabs enough to be undead. That's just gonna be, as they say in the movie, hokum. You're just gonna have to accept that magic there. But they actually could mummify people alive. Like one of the punishments for stealing in ancient Egypt was that they would cut you open, unroll your intestines, let it sit out in the sun for a while, roll it back up, and put it back inside you. They were so damn good at that, and their surgical ability was phenomenal. So I can believe that they were probably saved the brain for last.
Yeah.
And so
that's how I've always just rationalized it. I'm like, they just did the brain part last.
But the rest
the phrasing has always bugged me, and that I'm always just like,
they
died though.
I don't think they salted the bodies though, because they actually used a lot of oil, which is how the body's preserved.
That's why they stay
over time. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if they salted them or not, but I do know that they did mummify some people alive.
Yeah.
Until I think the brain.
Obviously, major
just left
nitpick. It doesn't matter, but just the phrasing has always bugged me. I'm like,
magic. They're using magic, Matt. Yeah. They're not letting their souls cross over. So who was everybody's favorite character? Chat, who's yours?
So
Sand vampire.
Sand vampire?
Sorry, go on. I remembered. I'm making a banner so I don't forget again.
Okay. So favorite character, I really love like all of the characters in this movie.
I know, it's really hard to pick one.
But if I had to pick one, it's because I love this character archetype so much, and that is Jonathan. I
was like, he's either gonna say Jonathan or Benny, just to
yes.
The second one.
Yeah.
The little shithead that's always along for the ride and just causing problems for everyone. I love that character every time. And Jonathan is a great example of it.
I love Jonathan so much because, like, normally I hate that archetype in adventure movies because they're always kind of like sleazy. They have almost no redeemable qualities and everything. And, like, they don't actually give a fuck about their sibling. They're just going to leave them high and dry. Jonathan cared. He was so like sweet and charismatic. He was just a scoundrel, and that's fine. We love him anyway, so I get you.
I just love a part of an adventuring party that's just a little shithead. Like another great example from a different movie is Murder on the Orient Express.
Shh, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Oh, okay. There's a character that is kind of like Jonathan, and I love him too.
Cool. I don't care if it's been out for years. I don't know how long it's been out.
That movie's so good. Murder on the Nile, not so good.
Not as good. I still enjoyed it, but not as good as,
Yeah.
Emmy, who's your favorite character?
It's really hard because I love all of them so much. And I feel like I can't say Jonathan because he's just the go-to. Like, he's the classic. Everyone fucking loves Jonathan.
Weirdly, the go-to, it would seem. Yes. One would not think so.
As much as I love Evie for, like, you know, peak feminism, she's amazing. She's great. I think Rick because... Okay, I'm going to have two because I literally can't choose.
Fine.
Artist Bay because he's fucking beautiful and gorgeous and stunning, and everyone should love Artist Bay. And also like the stoic but still like caring, and you know, like my favorite part is like when they're on the plane and he's just like so excited. I love Artist Bay so much. But then also Rick because again, like for both of them together, they're like everything that I love about like 90s adventure film men.
They are a power couple bromance.
Oh, they are. But it's like they're like both very strong men, very like capable. They're, you know, like your classic action hero, but they're also like not afraid to be like, I'm scared or I'm sad or I have feelings for this person or, you know, blah, 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 blah. Like they don't hide their emotions. They're very, yeah, exactly. So I think like between the two of them, I can't choose. I love them both because I think they're just peak male characters.
And now I'm going to make chat go first because I don't have to follow my own rules. I accept that this guy comes back from the dead to bring his girlfriend back because that's what we do every Thursday. Rick O'Connell or Imhotep? Yes. They're both great. Imhotep's, I love him so much. Also, want to give a shout out to him for confidently strutting around in that tiny ass skirt. I was like, sir, one wrong move.
A wrong gust of wind and
they're underground. But yeah, fave character Rick, of course. Fully restored Imhotep.
I changed mine. Gooey Mummy Imhotep is my favorite.
For completely opposite reasons that Lane is implying. Oh my god, I am so glad somebody showed some love for Will. I love him. Let me say, there's so many wonderful foreshadowing seeds that are just planted throughout this movie, and it's really easy to like not pay attention or to think things are throwaway. Like the part when Rick and Jonathan are going to go meet for drinks, and Rick runs into Wilson, and Wilson's telling him about the war and everything, and Rick.
I think it's actually Winston, but
let me check my notes. It is Winston, for I have a Winston in my notes.
I don't know any of the Americans' names. I'm not good with names.
No, he's the British.
He's the British air pilot.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I know half of the Americans' names. So Winston, and he like just runs into him, and he's telling him all about the war and stuff, and Rick is politely listening and everything. And then he's like, man, sometimes I wish I had just died in the war with all of my friends. And that breaks my heart growing up in a military family. Because, like, I know people who feel that way. And I'm like, oh, my God, Winston. And then eventually he does get to die in his place of glory with that little smile on his face.
That was so cute.
That is the closest the movie brought me to crying. Evie, a solid good point. I love that, like, Evie, like, when it comes to Evie and Rick, at first she's kind of like, she's obviously got a little crush on him, and she's kind of like enamored and taken with him. But then she asked him why he kissed her, and he's like, I don't know, I was about to die. It seemed like a good idea. And she's done. Reality has popped her bubble, and then he's got to earn it, and I love it. And he does, like, when he brings her the little kit. And he's like, here, this cool, collected, charismatic man just like falls apart. He's like, I got this. I stole it from the Americans for you. I thought you'd like it. And she does, because it's an archaeological digging kit. I cannot remember the name of it right now. And she she loves it to the point when the Americans come. And poor Bernard is like, oh, I think that's mine. And Rick's like, no, it ain't. He's like, no, it ain't. That's hers now. I must have lost it somewhere else.
Yeah, I think in my notes I put theft equals love for that.
And then she steals the book later, and he's like, that's called theft. And I'm like, sir,
so you can talk.
The flesh-eating beetles, that's, you know what? It's a hot take favorite, but they are sassy little fuckers. So
they got some personality to them.
Yeah.
One, because he's hot too. I will add that to the banner.
Oh God, no, I can't.
Go ahead, prepare thyselves.
This movie makes its way into my like everyday dialogue all the time. Like I can't. There's just certain things that I can't say without it relating back to this film.
I know someone did not just say the Beatles, but they did. Like, I don't want to get to know the Beatles, but I'll watch them from afar.
Don't tell me it's been out for longer than 15 years. I don't need to know that.
1999. Please. When was that?
That was 20.
That was the year my younger brother was
years
born.
ago.
20. Yeah. I know.
Emmett Winston got this in Castaway. I mean, that's fair. I'm dyslexic, so I just confuse things.
I got the Wilson. That was like, I was like, there's a volleyball in this movie.
I'm dyslexic, so she was like Wilson. I'm like, Winston. Yes, obviously, same name. They played it fair. They did so tragically important. Yes, I love the part where Rick cut out one of the Beatles. I can't look sometimes. It depends on like how I'm feeling that day. Because like today I woke up and I just had a very high anxiety day. Like, so to those who are new, you may not know, but my regular audience might be able to tell this is a low energy day for me. So that's because of the anxiety. So today I was definitely not watching that. I was like, nope, I know what happens.
I was like gag.
I just like how he like throws it across the thing, and then it like pops up, looks at him like, the fuck dare, that was lucky.
Yeah.
And then
he
shoots it. So my favorite character is kind of a tie between Imhotep and Ardith.
Ardith, yeah.
Yeah, Ardith. And Ardith is kind of like a very nostalgic bias reason. It's because like my dad he served over I do not remember where, but I just know that like he came back very, very dark. And he has very similar hair and beard shape to Ardith. So Ardith looks to me, he looks a lot like my dad did when I saw The Mummy. And it does not help that my mother drooled and thirsted over Ardith because he looked like my dad. So, and then my dad also speaks a little bit of Arabic because of when he was over there and stuff. So he was actually able to translate a little bit of it for me because I couldn't fully read the like subtitles and stuff. So I very much connect him with my dad, and so like he'll always be one of my favorites. They even like carry themselves very similarly. It's weird. But then I just love Imhotep because this poor fucker was essentially just kind of, he was just trying to follow his heart, just trying to help save his woman, and then he got fucked over in the hardest of ways. And I really don't feel the punishment fit the crime, but and then when he comes back, his first thing is like, yeah, I gotta like go kill people too, but also, is that my woman? Boo! You're here! But also, Imhotep, consent is key. We don't go around kissing people in their sleep. I don't care if you do plan to murder them later.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I love him so much. Plot twist, Sam's dad was an actor in The Mummy.
You ever seen him in the same place at the same time?
I have not.
Oh, well, something to think about.
There are large parts of my dad's life I know nothing about, and he will never shed light on, so he is a mysterious being. All right, so...
He was secretly in The Mummy and then charmed.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, so most disliked character. Oh, wait, before we move on to this, I do want to give a shout-out, an honorable shout-out to Bernard, who, when they play the card game, somebody gets, I think Dave criticizes him for his glasses. And he's like, well, I gotta clean them. I can't see without my glasses. This his kit is stolen. There's a gun put in his face when he tries to just go, oh, hey, that's my kit. He gives it up because, you know what? He can get another one. And then everybody abandons him. He can't see without his glasses. Fucking Benny steps on his glasses. Look, sir, put your broken glasses on your face. You are running for your life. Broken is better than nothing. And then when he thinks he found help, no, it's not help. He just has his eyes and his tongue removed. Nobody else, mind you, had their eyes and tongues removed. They were just numbed. He gotta live like that. Then, like, he's trying to adjust to it and everything and be okay. And Benny's like, oh, I have a prince and he just wants to be a good host. He's gonna shake the man's hand, but then he's told, oh no, that's, like, superstition is bad. And he like, you could tell he feels bad about that. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then he, like, spills his tea. And then he's just like, oh, I'm fucking up. And then Benny's like, it's okay. Like, Prince Imhotep appreciates your, kindness and everything. And, like, Bernard, I love his actor, too, because, like, he's so good at physical acting. You can see the relief leave his body until Benny's like, and he likes to thank you for your eyes. And then he seizes up. And he's like, and you're kind of like, Benny, why are you psychologically torturing this poor man? Just let him get numbed in ignorance. He's going to feel it in a second. So I just wanted to say I feel so bad for Bernard. I feel so bad for him. I looked up his name to make sure that I knew who he was. But yes. So most disliked character. I'm glad somebody,
Yeah, he's got it rough.
Which one's Mr. Henderson? I don't know that one by name. The Warden Gad Hassan, the one time I was rooting for the Beatles.
I love the Warden. He's great. He's hilarious.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the Warden. He's like kind of in the middle ground for me. I don't dislike him, but I don't like him. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with him. He's just running a prison, and like he even apologizes that the hanging got kind of unsightly. Because he's like, oh, his neck didn't break. Now we're going to have to watch this. And, like, we don't know what Rick did to get arrested. But whatever
He had a
did,
very good time, apparently.
a very good time. But whatever it was, the warden seemed particularly offended by it. He was like, I would pay 100 just to watch him hang. And he didn't seem a particularly sadistic individual. So I'm like, what did he do? So, but I can understand why somebody wouldn't like him, because like he's just kind of there. And he's put there to be more negative than positive impact.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think in like the 1920s, like what was it, 1929?
1923.
In Egypt. 1923, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, 1923. Yeah, so 1923 in Egypt, this white guy ends up in an Egyptian prison.
Yeah.
I think any Egyptian at that point would be like, I'd pay to see him hang.
That's fair. Least fave Benny for character reason. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with Benny. I think that Benny is a great character. I think the actor played him amazing, and I think he did his job. And I'm impressed by how many languages and faiths he has. But I hate him because of all of the above. Well, not all of the above, but because of all the shit he does and everything. So,
and that's such a great element of his character, that he's such a like kind of pedantic, anxious person that he just feels he needs to have access to all of these religions to protect him in any given situation.
I just like how he's like, "You're not Catholic? Okay."
Yeah,
all right.
So that's one of the funniest things in the movie to me. Is he's just
nope. Jewish. But least favorite writer, brain-wise. I do feel like she is better utilized in the second one, and she's very underutilized in the first.
Yes,
but
to be fair, in the first one, you didn't mention it at the start, but she does also stab the pharaoh.
Oh yeah. Oh, was she the one who stabbed the pharaoh?
Imhotep stabs him first. No, she stabs him first. She stabs him in the back.
Oh, that's right.
He's fine, and then Imhotep stabs him, and then they all stab him. There's a lot of stabbing.
So much stabbing.
So she got her revenge. I don't know. I don't have a disliked character.
It's okay.
Actually, no. The Egyptologist that was with the Egyptians.
The snobby bitch.
Yeah, I don't like him.
I hate that fucker.
Yeah.
But Anoxen Moon is also one of those examples of, it's like she was there and she served the purpose, and it's like to try to give her a bigger role just to give her a bigger role kind of throws everything else out of whack.
And they could have easily have made her a weak female character at that point.
Yeah, but no, she was a badass.
They chose to make her get her,
So I can understand why this would be a take. However, she was legally his mistress, and literally all he did was ask her, "Who touched you?" Because like she's his lady. And we see more of him in the second one, and he's actually like a pretty chill guy. But in the first one, we don't actually get like enough of him. He's a king, and he's got a concubine, and he's mad that somebody fucked up his concubine. He looks more confused than anything when we see him. But that's just like kind of my take. And I always believe context is key. So it's the context.
Yeah, and I think like seeing this before the context of the second one, I can understand.
Yeah, like I get it.
Pharaoh is probably an asshole to her, but then when
probably,
you see
especially the way she reacts,
like loving,
she's like
doting.
Yeah, when she's like, my body is not his temple anymore. But also, Noxina Moon's like, I highly recommend watching the second one because it adds a lot to her character.
I definitely need to watch that.
She's just a bitch.
I will say that is actually hinted at in the first one. Like there's seeds. It's foreshadowed. You can 100% watch the second one and go back and be like, oh no, I see it. They didn't like retcon. I see it. When she's like, you're the only one who can bring me back. Not I love you. Not boo, please don't die with me. No, it was bring me the fuck back to life. So she playing the long game. Mr. Henderson was one of the guards protecting the curator, whose name I have forgotten. I do not know this man. I mean, I know who the curator is, but I do not know Mr. Henderson. Well, to be fair, a pharaoh was considered to be a god in ancient Egypt. Social roles were very different. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't excuse him from being an asshole if he was an asshole, but like,
it just doesn't come across as he was an asshole.
Also, I do want to point out that just because he is doting towards his father does not mean he is a good husband or a good lord to a concubine. That's probably the wrong terminology. But he does seem very kind to Anaxu no Moon in the second one, is what I was referring to, his relationship to her. Because you can be a good parent and be a shit partner. You can be a good partner and be a shit parent. These two, they don't equate, so.
Yeah, but he seemed very even and very fair in both relationships.
Like very teasing, very playful with both of them. Mm-hmm. Why or why not? What? Banner? The fuck? Oh. That is supposed to go up with, do you think the movie's enjoyable? But we don't need it. I'm just going to get rid of it. Delete. Okay. What was the part that stuck out beyond the 80 we've said? Everybody's forgotten the whole movie.
What happened?
I don't know about that. I'm a great part. You can be both. I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive, Jenna.
My favorite part of the movie.
Yes.
Is when
that fits under stuck out.
Yeah.
Ow, my hand.
When the mummy's like first being brought back. You know,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because that's like, I don't know, it feels like the most adventure-y part of the movie. They're all like running around in the tomb. Mummy's chasing them. Similar time in the movie when the warden gets killed by the scarab. Like, it just feels very fantasy, very adventure, and just a ton of fun.
I like that he died just by running into a wall, and everyone's like, "The fuck happened?
What happened to that guy?"
We can explain the other deaths, but this one, what did he just decide?
I also love how everyone's like largely chill with it. Like, he dies, and then they're just cuts to them at the campfire. Like, I don't know, man.
That was really weird. Do you think this place is like? I do like that they did show compassion for the locals who were melted, because they were like, "Oh my god, that's terrible," and that because the Americans did not.
Yeah,
fuckers.
Yeah, that's a big element of this movie that I really like, is that there was no like from a time where they would have been terrible to.
Yeah, where it would have been okay to be terrible. The main characters are very much. Yeah,
they're very respectful, which is something that I'm happy they didn't include any like outward racism in this movie, which would have been at the time. It was very good.
What was there was very like kind of subtle and very obviously frowned upon by the narrative of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, a part that stuck out for me, I don't know, I love the whole movie, but I think like my favorite thing is like where the kind of oh my god, I had it in my head, now I've forgotten the words that I want to use, when they're like bartering for Rick's life while he's hanging. That's like my favorite. And then like the moment that Evie wins and she just stands up and is like,
that smug ass smile. Yes.
Yeah, I love it. That's probably my favorite part.
Stuck out the vibes, the aesthetic, Rick and Evie's relationship, Jonathan.
Yeah.
I like how it's just Jonathan. No,
or the moment where like Jonathan scares her in the museum with like
oh my god,
the mummy sit up. I was like, my brothers would fucking do that shit.
Like touching a dead mummy, like this ancient artifact.
He is very comfortable with a lot of things, man.
Like,
well,
he laid down with
he's
it.
like a failed archaeologist, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't know if he's a failed archaeologist. It definitely implies he is an archaeologist and that like his career is not the best, because Evie's like, well, you can't ruin my career like you ruined yours. But I don't think it's because he's bad at archaeology. I just think he's because
he can't even translate.
He's got a thieving and gambling. There was only one, and he's like, Evie, I'm stuck on it, and she's like in the middle of the fight being choked. I'm just saying, I don't think he's failed. She's just better than him, and that's okay, and he's okay with that.
Fair enough.
When the white cat was like pissed off, and Hotess was like, nope. The good mix of fun and horror, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love the pressurized salt trap when the Americans unearthed the book. I love the trap itself. I hate how it was used. I'm happy it showed a hint of the traps the Egyptians set in their tombs. Mr. Henderson is one of... Look, I'm grouping them all together. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Are you talking about Dave or the cowboy? Because I don't know the cowboy's name, and I can't remember Dave's last name. But
I think he's the blonde one.
Yeah. Emily's favorite part, the middle 124 minutes. Matt ate a snail, and he's shading Jonathan for touching a mummy.
I would rather eat a snail than touch a mummy.
Wait, like a garden snail or like at a restaurant?
It was a garden snail, yeah.
He was 6, 7?
I was like 7 or 8, yeah. And it was on a
you're
bat.
a kid.
Yeah, so.
No, that's fine.
Jonathan is not a very ethical person, but he is fair.
That's true. But also, to be fair, at that time, there was an abundance of mummies and they did not give a shit about them. Like, there were so many. That's why when they find Imhotep, they're like, oh, you found yourselves a mummy. Haha, cool. Because they weren't worth anything at that point because there were so many. They were literally making paint.
They were not financially worth anything to European museums.
Did not know that.
But also, they were literally grinding up mummies and,
that's horrible.
Making them into paint. And like the line where they say, oh, you could probably use it for firewood. It shows that the mummies were worth fucking nothing at that point. Literally had no meaning behind them. So that's why everyone, and they would just...
Again, to clarify, to the museum people, culturally, I'm sure they still mattered to the Egyptians.
Oh, yeah, culturally, obviously. But, like, well... Yeah, it's hard to say, but yeah, they were everywhere and people were literally like, there would be vendors selling mummies to, tourists on the street and stuff. Like, they weren't viewed as sacred as what they are now because there were so many of them, but now that so many have been lost. So it's become more of a bigger thing. In hindsight, yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, fuck, why did we do that,
I like that I can believe the relationships Rick and Evie and Jonathan and Evie. Yes.
Yeah.
Rick screamed back in the mummy.
So
I love this. I love this continued joke because like it starts as Imhotep yelling at him and him yelling at Imhotep, and then like Imhotep yells at him again and he yells back at Imhotep like as the sand face.
Yeah.
And then he yells at the guards and the guards yell at him, and at that point he's like,
Yeah, my note for that was Rick screaming back at the creature is iconic.
That was Bernard. Was Bernard's last name Henderson?
I don't know any of the Americans' first or last names.
Mummy.
I don't know.
Bernard Burns was the guy with glasses. That's what I thought. I thought he was a BB.
I'm pretty sure Henderson is the blonde guy.
I'm looking it up now. There's too much discourse on who the fuck this fucker is. He's the cowboy, the blonde one.
Yeah,
I call him the cowboy because he's the one who says hee-haw.
I love that.
Oh yeah, I see the guy is that.
He also goes like the Jesse James to kill one guy, and it's just like you could have just fired once, buddy. What are you doing trick shots out here? I love it.
I love how in the beginning when there's like the like horses charging toward like Rick and his kind of like garrison. I think it's implied that he's in like the French Foreign Legion, but I'm not totally sure on that. I just know that they operate in Egypt. And he spoke French. But I love how they have this like kind of cavalry charging towards them and he has a shotgun. I'm like, this is the least appropriate weapon to have right now.
One of the parts that stands out to me is how Jonathan is consistently a really good shot. Like every fight. He is a great shot. And then when he like dual takes out Rick's guns and starts doing that, like he's actually a really good shot, to which I'm like, Jonathan, what do you do in your spirit? You pickpocket prisoners, or like you pickpocket people. You are a really good shot. You read hieroglyphs and maybe hierophant. That is not the word. The other one, hieratic. Thank you. And I'm just like, you read all these things. You do these things. You're just like not as good as your sister. Were you just like, this is her thing, and now I'm gonna go like just do whatever the fuck I want? What is your story?
Yeah.
I'll take Yeehaw for my namesake. That's very fair. Cowboy. I don't know I didn't know his name, so I just referred to him as there was Cowboy, the curator, Dave, and Bernard. Those are the Americans. I may be missing one. All right, so I want to talk. Well, first we'll do favorite line. I know my favorite line. My favorite line is when Evie's like, "You told me you found this in Thebes," and then Jonathan. I'm just providing context up to the favorite line, and Jonathan's like, I don't remember his comeback, but then she's like, "You lied to me," and he's like, "I lie to everybody. What makes you so special? I'm your sister. That just makes you more gullible." I love that little interaction. I know it's more than one line, but I don't care.
My favorite line is also a Jonathan line. It's when Rick is like, "Hey," I don't remember the exact thing that Rick says, but he's like, "Yeah, sorry about punching you earlier." And Jonathan just goes, "It's okay, it happens a lot." Like, that's so funny.
It was the thing Rick goes is he's like, "Oh, hey, I hope no hard feelings about the."
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
Happens
"No,
all
happens
the
all the time."
It's so good. Like, that just it's Jonathan's character to a T, and it's great. He's like, "I know, I'm a shitter. Whatever."
This man literally has not a fuck to give except about his sister. Like when she goes off and Rick's like, "We're going in the sewer," he's like, "What about my sister, sir? You're about to be killed by a mob. We'll get to her later. It's fine." Love when they race to Hamunaptra and Evie wins on camel. With how many people he steals from, I hope he'd know how to use a weapon. That's fair, but again, his character type would normally just be very helpless, and he Benny is normally the kind of character that Jonathan would be. So I like how like they basically still have a Benny, but he's on the not good side, and then like Jonathan is it done well and charismatically. Hey, Benny, looks to me like you're.
That was my second choice.
Looks to me, it appears we have all the horses. Hey, Benny, it appears you're on the wrong side of the river. And then Benny starts cursing in Hungarian, according to my subtitles, which didn't translate anything for me. But they're like speaks in this language.
Yeah, I don't think I could come up with a favorite line. I mean.
It's okay, you can just bask in all it.
I have the "I am a librarian" when she's drunk.
I am a librarian. And
yeah, I don't know.
You.
There's too many. I love them all. Anything that comes out of Ardith Bay's mouth, just I don't know.
O'Connell, hey O'Connell, it looks to me like... Oh, yep, that's the same one. Yep. That happens a lot here. You're in a that happens a lot around here. I only gamble with my life, never my money. Death is only the beginning. Yes. That one's good too. Jonathan, that's my husband and my son down there. Make me proud. Today is that day, Evie. Is that one from the second one?
That's from the second one, yeah.
You dream about dead guys.
Literally any sarcastic line from the movie, which is every second line, let's be honest. So
yeah, they're like all so good.
I think the most impactful line is Anaxinamun's in the start. The "my body is no longer his temple" line.
Yes.
I think the like delivery of that, it's like her only line.
It's so good. You know, I love that part because she's like reclaiming herself, which for the record, I do not generally support reclaiming yourself through like stabbing yourself and dying. But if you have a boyfriend who can resurrect you and is not going to be cursed for it,
exactly.
Who am I to judge you?
Everyone needs a necromancer boyfriend.
We all need that necromancer emoted. All right, so hear me out. Imhotep is a sand vampire.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Because the way he drains them when we're shown is he turns into sand, much like a vampire turns into fog, and then sucks them dry. And then he fast travels this way. And he's an undead zombie creature, which is what vampires originally were.
I would say that is because this movie obviously was,
special effects, but yeah,
loose remake of the 1930s one. And I think, especially going off when Enoxinamun is half like brought back, how she acts kind of Bride of Frankenstein-esque.
Yes.
I think it was kind of to pay homage to all those other movies, you
Yeah,
know, because he
probably.
might have been like, if this flops, I'm not going to make any more. So I'm going to try and put all of them in here.
I just know that, because again, I came on to a lot of realizations watching it today for like the first time analytically, and I was like, he's a sand vampire. I just had to share this revelation with the world. But he's never invited in. Still a vampire. Sand vampires do not go by the same etiquette.
Yeah, they don't need invitations.
The world is their sandbox. Also, I wasn't serious. I just wanted to share that. I had one more. Oh my god, it's a sarcophagus buried at the base of Anubis. He must have been someone of great importance, or he did something very naughty. I love her delivery of this line because it doesn't actually leave any room for anything other than omnibus. But I cannot say it that way.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna sound dirty. Vampires are a monolith weekend. I have a whole let's talk on that. Alright. So The Mummy, a horror. So like I'm like watching it and I enjoyed the original The Mummy, and there are so many references and homages, and there's just like so much, especially to the horror franchise. So today I was like, well, is this technically like, would horror be one of its subgenres? It's obviously action adventure, and so I was like, would it be a horror? So I went down a Wikipedia rabbit hole, which then took up all the time I had to even attempt makeup today, which is why we have a potato Sam. But I found the answer. So it's not an action adventure horror. It's an action adventure with horror elements. And the 1999 Mummy, actually they tried to make it for, I think it was 9 to 10 years. But they're like, I forget which studio made this movie. But the studio that
Universal.
Thank you. But Universal was like, we want to start another Universal like movie monster franchise, and so they wanted to do it with The Mummy. And the first few scripts and stuff, you know, like made it horror-esque, and they were like trying to just do straight horror movies, and they're like, well, no, we kind of don't want to do that. And it's like they kept throwing out different plot lines and it wasn't working, and then they'd have to like get new directors and stuff because they went on to do other projects. And then the person who eventually made it, they were like, I don't want to do a horror movie. I want to do an action adventure. They're like, I want to take The Mummy, and because like, oh, sorry, my nose is itchy. They grew up, like they saw the black and white Mummy when they were a kid, and they loved it so much, but they knew that like the criticism and everything that it got. So they were like, okay, we're going to make our Mummy terrifying. But like the rest of the movie, I want it to be like very action adventure, very upbeat and all this other stuff. And Brandon Fraser was like not even top 3 for the pick. They wanted like, who was it? Hold on, I have it open. Yeah, they offered it to Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck, and all of them turned it down. They were all like, "No, we're not going to do it." But Brandon Fraser had just made George of the Jungle, and like that was a hit and a success. And somebody, or like, and the director was like, you know what? I could see it. I could see him as Rick. Like it would be perfect. So they hired him. And Rachel, like, she kept auditioning for it. They originally considered like a lot of American actresses. None of them were named. Just a lot of American actresses, and then eventually they were like, okay, she keeps auditioning. We like it. She does good. We'll take her. At least that's how the wiki makes it feel. And then they showed Arnold the script, and Arnold was like, I will play Imhotep if I can play this straight from his point of view. And they were like, okay, let's see how that goes. He did it in one, and they're like, yeah, you're him. You're Imhotep. So basically everybody else was like, yeah, we're going to like not take it too seriously. We're going to have fun and stuff. And he's like, I will be the most serious monster to ever exist. And it works so well. I love it. And so it's just that's a great like story behind the making and the casting, and the reason that as an action adventure this movie is kind of scarier than the original one, which was just a horror. Yes, my darling. Then go eat food. Did you hear her?
No.
She walked away going, I'm so lazy. Which I'm like, I get it. I relate.
Same.
And there is one more story in particular I would like to share. It's in interviews, Arnold describes a day on set when they're supposed to record the scene between Anaxunamun and Imhotep. And instead of Anaxunamun's actress, who I am so sorry, madame, I don't remember your name.
Oh, I did write it down. Hang on, I have it written down.
We'll find out her name.
It is Patricia Velasquez.
Yes, so instead of Patricia walking out, Brandon Fraser walks out in full Anaxunamun makeup, pasties, the little skirt piece, and he just walks up to Arnold. And Brandon was like, his face. Because, like, Brandon wasn't even supposed to be on set that day. And I'm like, I wish there had been video of that, because that would be
so
amazing.
Funny.
You mean yes? Yes, Lane, the best. Welcome back. I'm glad that your internet has returned to the world. Right? I just can't. He plays it so well.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my youngest. I has 3 children. And they occasionally appear to bug me. I
have to say, watching it, yeah, watching it, like more critically, last night, literally at the top of my like second page of notes is just
30 seconds.
Brandon peak acting, because like I hadn't really noticed it before, but really, really paying attention to it was like, fuck, he's really good. Like every single tiny little, even when he's in the background, you know, the facial expressions match what's happening in the scene, and like every single little thing that he did was just so good. It fit the character, fit the like kind of mood of the scene and everything. He was just like, I already knew he was a good actor, but this is like a adventure comedy horror, like elements of horror kind of thing. You don't expect to have, I guess, like that level of acting.
Such subtle and
yeah, it was the subtlety of it as well.
And the body acting too. Like when Evie is going on about like the book and everything, he says something kind of snarky and sarcastic to her, but the way he watches her when she's talking, like he's doing his own thing. He's taking care of his weapons. But he's looking at her.
He's like doing his own thing, and then when she starts talking about like, you know, her thing, he kind of does that thing where he like settles in and like is like, okay, cool, now she's gonna like talk.
And it's so good, and you know he like pays attention. That's how he knew what to steal, to prove his affections for her. Yeah. There's a lot of like really good subtleties, and if you're not looking at the screen, you'll miss looks and stuff that people give each other, or just little things that they do. Going back to Jonathan, the way that like he and Evie look at each other, or just like the times when he puts his arm around her, or he like gives her space because she's very clearly pissed at him.
Yeah.
So, and the
like,
way
some of that could go to the director's skill as well. Who was Stefan? Would you say Stefan or Stephen?
Well, how is it spelled? With a PH or an F?
With a PH.
Then I would say Steven. Weirdly enough, I would say Stefan if it's an F and Steven if it's a PH. But that's
Okay.
just based on the ones I've known.
Stephen Sommers is the director who then after this he also went on to direct Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman and Kate Beckinsale.
Oh.
Yeah.
He has a passion for monsters.
Yeah.
He does. That's why I'm annoyed that it didn't continue with the whole thing. But to be fair, he did get all the monsters into Van Helsing. So the remaining monsters. But
it's on my list.
Yeah, it definitely some of those like subtle moments and like background things can come to the director doing it, but there's just certain times where you're like, that's not the director, that's just the actor. And I think that was a lot of what happened with Brendan.
I think it's a combination, because definitely when you look at like what he wanted and everything, he brought his vision to life, but I don't know if he could have done it quite the way he did it without the cast. Because even the Americans, as detestable as they are, the moment they come in, they're more than just shallow stereotypes. They are fully like developed characters and everything, and like they're picking on each other and stuff at the beginning of the card game.
I have to say, as an Australian, the kind of subtle digs at the Americans was so hilarious.
We feel them so hard.
Yeah. And like,
when
that's
Rick,
when they're
when
they're joking about the Americans and they're like, sorry, Rick.
And Rick's like, no, I get it. Yeah, that's me and Matt. I was literally about to say that. That's us.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Rick is every understanding American that just goes, we know. The Mummy ride in Universal is awesome. The line is always long, at least when I go.
One day we'll go.
But while you're waiting in line, at least they have TVs playing with like cast interviews and behind the scenes things, and so it's like it's still just standing in line is great, and you're like walking through essentially a fake mummy museum, so standing in line can be almost more enjoyable than the ride, depending on your perspective on the ride.
I love when amusement parks like put in the effort to make the line waiting kind of fun.
You can ask questions about the second movie. I do not profess to be able to remember anything.
And I haven't seen it.
I can tell you everything.
Emily is the only one who can answer said questions during this particular Let's Talk. But I do have a list of Let's Talks that we will be doing. Next month, we're doing Ghostbusters because of a lot of things that happened with scheduling for this month. There were a lot of touch and goes. But after Ghostbusters, I will be doing another poll. So after today, I'll go out and I'll do another post that's like, hey, what movies would you like to see? And I can add ones. Just for the record, I will do more than horror. It's not my fault. My audience has a particular leaning. Technically, this was an action adventure based on a horror. So not a horror, but I have a certain audience. But I would be very interested in doing rom-coms and other such movies too, because
I'm down for rom-coms. I love a good rom-com.
Emily is like, I'm just gonna park here. This is my permanent seat now. All the movie Let's Talks.
I won't do Ghostbusters though, because I'm not a huge Ghostbusters fan.
That's fine. I think I already have my May scheduled, so I already have my Ghostbusters co-host.
Fair.
Who are they? It's not Matt, because I distinctly remember he said, not me.
Yeah. That's just a movie that I have such neutral feelings towards that I'm just like, I would bring nothing to that Let's Talk.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm like...
Stream setups. Yeah, it will be Chris and Cody.
Nice.
There you go.
All right, now let me write this post. Hey, everybody, because that's what I do. What?
But to answer Leanne's question, I think Evie and Rick are good parents. Very caring, very loving. They listen. It's not their fault that Alex doesn't want to talk to them.
It's not their fault. He's a
and he is kind of he's a little shit. So definitely takes after his uncle. But I think they handle it quite well. Also, it's hard to say because, like, I guess, like, that question is coming from, like, oh, they let him roam around in tombs alone. They're not, on top of him constantly all the time, making sure he's all right. But he would have grown up in that environment, so they would be confident that he's fine.
From my memory, they're fine parents. There's like, it's really no different than if like you're in the country and you have country kids who go out and play in the woods by themselves or go like play in the creek and stuff. It's what they're acclimated to. It's what they're adjusted to. It's fine. And they seem very, like I said, from what I remember, because I have not seen this movie in at least 5 years. They just, their son, Evie might be a little too focused on work. I don't remember about Rick. Rick might be like my dad and be more focused on spouse than kids, which is fine. That happens. But like, because if I remember,
I feel like Rick was the more attentive parent, honestly.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he seemed to be more there for Alex, I think, like emotionally. Like when they get back, there's a part where he's kind of like scolding him, like, oh, what did you do? Where's this thing? But then at the same time is like, once they find out his
that's normally the primary parent. So
yeah.
So you're probably right.
Already off looking for something else or whatever.
There's someone around with it. Yeah. It could also
definitely
be Jonathan was definitely, I think, around like a third parent. So it's really hard being like the good parent who's also the liked parent when you have the fun aunt or uncle who does not have to deal with the consequences of like any of the bad decisions. I don't speak from personal experience. I just speak from observation. But yeah, so I'll have to watch it again because, like I said, I don't remember much. The grown-up Alex in the third movie was still a little shit, so nothing really changed. All I can distinctly remember from the second movie is Imhotep basically telling the child, "I'll cut your arm off. I don't care." And the kid going,
"No, I think that was the guard. That was one of the guards that says that." Okay. Yeah,
I remember somebody.
I can't remember the guard's name, but yeah.
I mean, that's fair. Like I said, it would be a thing for another Let's Talk. The Mummy Returns. Dun, dun, dun. Which I would be so into because I loved that movie.
I love that movie so much. It's so good.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up because we have come to the end. Well, was there anything that anybody else wanted to talk about?
I don't know if we actually talked about the end of the movie at all. Like we kind of talked about the start, the middle, and then just completely didn't talk
I talked about the camel.
The camel.
Yeah, I think that's as far as we got, was
that was it.
Them finding the mummy, and then there was just nothing else.
But no, I summarized the rest of the movie, but we didn't really talk about it. Well, what do you want to talk about it? Well, firstly, can we talk about the fact that there are only 4 out of 10 plagues that showed up?
Well, there was oh, hang on, I've got your notes open as well. There was locusts, rivers run red as blood, the eclipse, boils and sores, fire falling from the sky. There were
I did miss that
things.
I had a child ask me a question at that point in the movie.
Yeah, it didn't quite, I think, get to the point where there was
because there should be frogs, lice,
pestilence,
flies, livestock pestilence specifically. And then
I found it interesting that they went for biblical.
No firstborns died.
Evie was going to. Is Jonathan older? Yes.
Jonathan's the older one because when they're introduced, he says something about tricking his baby sister, and that is how they establish age order.
One question that popped up for me that I hadn't thought about before while we were talking, or I think while you were doing the summary,
oh my gosh.
why didn't Imhotep kill Benny. Yeah. Why didn't they use Benny as the sacrifice instead of, like, why did it have to be Evie? Because it's kind of implied at the start that, like, oh, she's meant to be Anoxenomun reincarnated or whatever, but then when you see the second one, that's not the case.
Yeah.
So it's like, did it have to be her, or was he just like, you're a female in my tomb, I'm gonna go with you?
That's the only thing I can think of is just that he wanted a female.
See, they never explain how the sacrifice is picked. I think he saw her and, well, it's not explained in the no, because that wouldn't make sense in the second one. Anyway, so I think it's just because she looked like her, and so he was like, oh, well, she would be the perfect sacrifice. And Benny is like his connection to the modern world. He's been a very good servant. He, it's like Imhotep may have perceived Benny as a gift sent from the gods because he started speaking Jewish, which was a language that Imhotep recognized. He called
Hebrew.
Hebrew. I apologize. He started speaking Hebrew, which Imhotep referred to as the language of the slaves. And from that point on, he trusted Benny implicably.
Mm-hmm.
And Benny did nothing to betray that trust. He even fucking tattletaled on them. He was like, Imhotep, there they are. This motherfucker. Up until he leaves him at the end of the movie with the gold, he had been nothing but perfectly loyal. So it's like, why kill him when there's all these other people that he could kill who are trying to stop him? And sacrificing Evie also kind of eliminates one of the few people who would be able to.
Yeah.
Another thing that I mentioned was, why is no one in the main cast affected by the plagues?
That's a
like the
good...
boils and sores, like everyone is just immune to that.
The Magi weren't affected either.
Yeah.
None of the Magi that we saw. So I'm thinking it's just like people who are in a certain area or like within a certain radius. Because Benny specifically says, as long as I serve him, I'm immune.
Yeah.
And so I assume that it's like within a certain radius of Imhotep. Because that's also how they knew that Imhotep was close when the blood ran. The water turned to blood.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if they got some sort of immunity type stuff from being there when he was first resurrected.
Well, yeah,
like being in the
one
tomb
who brought him back to life. So
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I also had the part where they're at the museum and they're like trying to translate off that big stone, which I'm assuming is meant to be like the Rosetta Stone, and it's like fucking massive when the Rosetta Stone is like not really that big.
I thought it was a part of a temple. I thought I interpreted it as it was a piece of something that the Magi were taking care of that like told them what they needed to know to keep
it's in the museum and it's but
the museum was ran
by shaped as
but it's a museum run by a guy who's I cannot remember his name, but the guy was a Magi because like they walk in on him and Ardith talking and they're like, the fuck you doing? And he's like, well, I'm a Magi and y'all fuck shit. I burned that map for a reason. And he shows it to them. So I know it's kind of shaped like the Rosetta Stone, but it also didn't look, it looked like it was pulled out of a wall. So
yeah, but so does the Rosetta Stone. But I mean, like it's like black like the Rosetta Stone as well. Like I think it's just kind of, obviously they've kind of used the visual silhouette of the Rosetta Stone for people to kind of go off that. But I just found it hilarious that they made it so huge.
She's like,
it doesn't need to be that big.
She's trying to find where she and her brother keeps distracting her, keeps losing her place.
And then there was like that moment where Evie corrects Benny's translation. I thought that was hilarious.
I love that. I love that whole thing is not necessary because she speaks the language. But he still keeps first he looks ashamed. He's like, I did fuck up. I won't fuck up again. And then he continues translating when clearly she knows what he's saying. And like they don't forget that. That's the other thing I love throughout this movie. It's just all the consistency. They do not forget that like she knows that, because when Imhotep gives the kill order, she immediately knows and reacts accordingly.
You know what's really funny about your sand vampire thing? I have a note here that says Imhotep is giving Dracula vibes.
Right? I always wonder why this movie gives me Dracula vibes. Because, like, they're not that similar, but the vibes are there.
And
then I think, like, I can do this, but with sand.
Yeah. They kind of, like, kill so many random innocent people, just, like,
I want to make a thing on that, because when Evie's talking to the Magi and she's like, so you just kill innocent people? And they're like, well, yeah. Most of the innocent people that the Magi kill are tomb robbers and thieves. Let us remember this. The only truly innocent people here are the locals hired and used as disposable. They're the only innocents here. Everybody else was in there for questionable motivations.
Yeah, but I meant like when they're like leaving the city in the car and stuff, and there's just all the people that have, you know, with the sickness and whatever.
Yeah,
and
right after.
Yeah, we're just gonna kill a bunch of these people, and then I found it really annoying that Evie doesn't kill anyone. She literally only pokes people in the eye like multiple times.
No, with the shotgun, because it knocks her over. I have a note in my Milo note that is like, did she kill that person? Clear, unclear. I'll assume she did. Because it was a shotgun.
Did she shoot the horse?
She shot the person. I would have remembered if it was the horse. No, she shot the person.
So there's one kill under her belt, but then for the rest of the time, even after
literally knocked her on
Rick
her ass too.
teaches her how to fight and how to shoot,
but
she pokes people in the eyes.
It is unfortunate, but also for the 90s, they were already pushing so many barriers and doing such good work with her character that. And her job isn't to be the muscle, it's not to kill. That's Rick's job. Her job is to, and whenever, like, when they're going through tunnels and stuff, Rick he like lets her lead. I mean, he's physically in front because he's the muscle, but he lets her like take the lead, and she's in charge. He does not question it. He does not tell her she is wrong. He's just like, she's like, keep Imhotep busy. He's like, got it. He's being thrown into a statue. So, and that's one thing I appreciate about them. Whereas, yes, it's a little bit gender role locked, but they respect each other in the roles that they have created. So,
yeah. One thing that made me really uncomfortable was all of the shots of like shoes that are really impractical for walking in the sand. It's just because you just know that was uncomfortable. Like Benny's wearing sandals the whole time, and there's Evie wearing heels, and I was just like, oh, that sand. Ew.
Benny's sandals might be fine. I don't know, because like some desert footwear are different types of sandals.
But no, there's like a scene. There's literally a scene where you can see his feet, and he steps up, and a bunch of sand falls out of his shoes, and I was just like,
so he's not wearing the good sandals. Okay, I get it.
It's like
I was just
so much
I was forever impressed that Evie has so much footwear to match all of her nightgowns. even the new nightgowns that like probably bought on location, she went out and found a pair of night shoes for them. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not hating on it, because she has enough money that probably was a priority for her in the 1920s. I'm like, I get it. And she always looks great. I also appreciate that when she went into the water in her white nightgown, it stayed white. I was like, thick cotton.
Yes. And then like the when she kisses Imhotep to distract him, and they just have like full eye contact, I was like, these last two scenes are just making me so uncomfortable. The sand in the shoes, the full eye contact kiss. It's just
she turns him around so he can't see. And then she just finishes, and she just looks so happy. He's like, the fuck? I can't tell if he's like, did that really happen, or did I really fall for that?
Yeah, I was like, my comment after that was like, come on, man, you couldn't have been that desperate.
It's been 3,000
It's been a long time for him.
He just got full anatomy back.
Dude's got a desert full of thirst.
Yeah, and then there was just kind of more like, in my notes at least, there was just like historical inaccuracies from that point on.
Oh, Chris
And
says the
then
nightgown had gone transparent in production, but they made it opaque. Well, I appreciate them making
well,
it
that's
opaque in post.
Hmm.
They can't control what fabric do.
One other thing that I really liked about Rachel as Evie is that she never does like a squeer. I can't say the word. I can't say it. You know, like a high pitched scream. It's always
squeal.
like a natural. Yeah, I can't say.
Squeal. It's okay. We'll say
I
it.
don't know why. I can't get my mouth around it. But yeah, she always has like a more like throaty scream. It's never like, I guess, like the classic damsel in distress.
Are we saying we appreciate this? Or
Yes, I'm saying
okay.
I appreciate it. That it's not like a
I think it's great.
girly scream.
Yeah. We finished my notes. Somebody didn't take notes.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
We haven't even gone through. I have like 4 pages of handwritten notes.
All right, we are going to have to wrap up soon, but I think we can go for another. Is 15 minutes good with you, Matt?
That's cool.
Okay.
I just love when Rick on the boat throws a full chair at someone.
Oh, that's when they're back in the city and Benny's in like
you're right.
the Egyptologist's office, and he just like picks up the chair and pitches it at him.
The amount of just throwing around he did to Benny in that scene, I was like, damn, Rick, is he a sack of potatoes?
Ragdoll.
Yeah, and then there's like he like picks him up and holds him up under the fan. Like one of my notes was like, damn, how strong are you, Rick?
Yeah, like that is a grown man that you are just going.
Yeah.
He is a tiny stack of potatoes that Rick is about to chop up. Also, how durable is Benny? That he took all of that and was just like mildly pained.
Yeah.
Jumped out a window.
I also liked the consistency in how enough Cinnamon comes back. Like when she comes back at the start, she's got like her hands up here and she does that same like shaky thing. And then when she comes back in like mummy form, she does that same thing. So I like that they were like consistent with that.
The eye for D, I swear they had like a team of people who were just like making sure everything was consistent. Because there's continuity. Because the continuity of the whole film is
it is very good.
Yes.
I have a note here that's just, damn it, Benny. I don't know what that's for, but
it could be so many things.
Yeah. And then like third note from the bottom is, Ardith, you beautiful bitch. So I think that's
also could be so many moments.
Could
but
be
I appreciate
so many
that
moments.
You take notes the way I take notes, where you need the notes before and after for context as to where we are in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I have a note about him where I'm like, that poor bastard, he was set on fire and took like a full round of a revolver. And he was still going and then just floop into the water.
And the candle to the eye. So
and the candle to the
eye. And then Jonathan pushes him into the couch that's on fire. He sets on fire, and then I think Rick or the Americans shoot him.
It's the cowboy.
Like, this poor guy.
Cowboy Jesse James is him.
Yeah. That poor guy. He was not getting paid enough for that.
So many of the deaths in this movie are so much happened to you.
This is
like you died a lot.
This movie really either wants us to believe the fallacy of how durable humans are or showcases it, and I'm not sure which.
Yeah. I think the one last note that I want to talk
Benny
about
triggers
was just the like sibling. It goes back to the sibling thing of like when they're leaving the temple, Evie's kind of like, oh no, we can't, we have to try and get the book back. And they're like, no, we got to go. And then they run through the treasure room and Jonathan's like, but I can't. And they're like, come on. And it's like, they both like kind of had that reason of staying. And it's like,
Rick looks at them and goes, I see how you're related.
Yeah. It's like, you dumb bastards. But yeah, I think that was like their sibling relationship was handled so well in this movie. And there's like, because some sibling relationships you watch in movies, you're like, it kind of comes off weirdly romantic and it's uncomfortable. But this one was just like straight up, no, they are brother and sister.
That is brother and sister.
They have so many similarities, but also like differences that it's enough that you can tell they're related, but they're their own separate person. But they've spent a lot of time together.
Yes.
So I think that was handled very well.
Yeah, it's a really great dynamic.
How they just watched the volcano pop up out of the ground, and only after the scarabs, they're like,
I mean,
what's that? It's like, oh fuck, scarabs! Nope, I'm out.
Scarabs are really scary.
It's like, is it mummies? I can deal with mummies. Lava, we'll be fine. Scared? No, fuck those scarabs. Can I just say that one of the most horrifying scenes, like played straight for horror, is after, once again, Rick tries to help Benny, but then like he can't because the wall closed, and he's just like, bye Benny, and leaves. And then just watching Benny crawl back to that room and watching the ceiling come down,
close to crushing him.
Yeah, and then after he's back in the treasure room, and the ceiling comes down just enough to like crush the mirror, so now there's no light except for his thing. And then that one scarab pops up, and he's like sasses the scarab, and the scarab does the little call, and then slowly you see all of the scarabs pop up, and there's like so many of them in there that it takes the oxygen away from the fire, and then just in complete darkness you hear them eating Benny, and I'm like, oh my god, the sound team, oh, why would you do this? And then it just pops right back to like the others. There's
but
so
I like that Rick had that moment of just like he didn't just leave, he had that Benny.
He always
because it shows that they had a close relationship, kind of.
I don't know if it's close, but they had a bond.
Like a
healthy bond. Kind of they are the frog and the scorpion, and I will stick by that.
There were many moments where Rick could have easily killed Benny.
Yeah, he could have let Benny die so many times. Yeah. Like at the beginning, he tells Benny to like go hide inside, and then Benny shuts the door in his face like a rude motherfucker. And then just so many times he could be like, but he tries. He always tries to save him. And like even when he throws him off of the boat, he inadvertently saved him there.
Yeah. And I love that moment where he sees the water with the wet footsteps, and he looks back out. He's like, no, he's still drowning.
Right? Get back up here. So fast.
Is he fast?
He's still trying. Yeah. And then he just kind of accepted it, and he was like, bye, Benny.
Yeah. And that's what I mean by it speaks to that kind of.
It was a closing of a chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it speaks to his character that he still tried to save him.
Oh yeah.
And he was so willing to kill other people, but there was this one person that he's, obviously known for a long time, has history with, and was still
I can fix him.
I should try and save you.
It's Rick's toxic project. His toxic trait is he can't give up on Benny.
Yeah.
Whenever he sees him, he's like, Benny, how did you get here? He sees Benny. He knows Benny survived, and his immediate assumption is, you brought a friend, huh? You got a mummy, don't you?
You got a mummy.
Maybe
I think
Rick.
It's like you made a new friend, Benny. Yeah.
It's like only Rick could connect that. He's like, what's he want? Nothing? I don't know. Ah, okay. Don't cut my head off.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where he's like, when he finds out that he's alive, he's not angry that he's alive.
No, he's just.
And then he also wasn't upset or angry with the fact that he was probably he could have been dead. It was just kind of like, oh, you're still around. Okay, cool.
Rick's been waiting for Benny to just die, but he can't actively let it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got such a mixed relationship.
Peak frenemies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Stieg and Matt.
Yeah, exactly.
We found a way to illustrate your
but doesn't want to be directly involved.
Yeah, I'd try to save Stieg from a collapsing tomb, but if it didn't happen, it didn't happen,
Stieg shouldn't have gone back for that gold.
Shouldn't have done it.
Stieg.
Bye, Stieg. I'm glad I'm the one on stream, so I get to make Stieg be Benny.
That's like, I am in control. Honestly, if I were Rick, I'd just be impressed on how, maybe that's part of it.
That's probably what it is. It's like a level of respect of just like,
it's like Ardeth seeing Rick again, and he's like, the desert didn't kill this motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's durable.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, Ardeth, how much do you regret that decision? Because not killing him released the mummy, but now also you've got time for hobbies. You don't have to sit around guarding it. What are you going to do with your day?
Exactly. Going into the second movie, he gets a trip to England, like, gets to go on a bus for the first time.
He gets to go see the world and decide he hates it all.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go back to Egypt.
Were there any more points you wanted to hit up? We have, I think, time for one more. And then we got to say our goodbye.
I think that was it. The rest of it is just inconsistencies and historical things that they got wrong and stuff like that.
I'm impressed with the special effects for the era.
Oh yeah, it was good special effects.
Very good. It's funny because I watched it on a streaming service. I don't know if you guys have the service Binge. I don't know if it's just an Australian thing or not. I'm not sure.
No, I watched it on HBO.
Okay. It was very it was weirdly grainy, like it looked like it was filmed on film, and I was like, I have not watched it with this kind of effect.
I think that was
I
just.
don't know if there's been a later release or.
I think it was just Binge. I watched it on HBO Max today, and it was fine. So
I rented it on Amazon.
Yeah, that streaming service had like, when things are on film, they have kind of like those holes.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. You see,
it had that, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? I've never seen it with that effect before." So I don't know if maybe they did it for like a UK release, because a lot of our streaming services will have a UK release, not like American or anything. So yeah, I don't know what that was, but my DVD copy definitely does not have that. No,
she wouldn't leave me alone, so now she's up here.
Fair enough.
She's like, I want you to pet me, but I don't want to be anywhere near you. That's not how it works.
Pet me, but from over there.
Yes, from an inconvenient angle. All right, chat, do you have any closing remarks? Anything you would like to add? It was kind of funny watching them run from the locusts and then just cut to the guy holding the book. There were a lot of interesting jump cuts that I had never processed before, but I was like, "How? Yeah, it's fine." Like, I think there was something horrifying going on, or just like maybe they were interrogating Benny. No, Imhotep had just eaten the cowboy, and then it just opens up the bedroom, and she's just laying there in her nightgown, and I'm like, for one, how did the nightgown get in there? Who has this been her bedroom the whole time? I was so confused as to how this happened, and I'm like, we have such good continuity with so many tiny things, but then I just don't know how she got to so many things.
She looked so uncomfortable in that scene when she was meant to be asleep, and I was like, I think one of my notes was she's definitely a side sleeper. Because she was laying on her back, and she just looked like, why am I like this?
You can't kiss somebody in their sleep if they're on their side. It's not good for the camera angles.
This is true, but you could tell she was a side sleeper.
That might be part of it, because there's just a couple things about that scene that bother me, and that might be one of them. And I just didn't consciously.
I think it was meant to imply that she was kind of on not having a so great dream or something, or was restlessly sleeping, but she also just looked physically
oh yeah. So one of these days I'm gonna do a movie where I'm just gonna start the stream with, okay, but hear me out, because everyone else is just gonna be like, I hate this movie so much, and I'm like, okay, but listen. The movie was truly a bioweek. I have a meme for that. Hold on. This is the last thing that I shall show. Just the meme. Come here, there did you go. I do not know who created this meme. Neither does Facebook. So I apologize that I cannot give appropriate credit. But I'm sure if a Google reverse search might help me, but it's a meme, so I'm not really that. My sexual orientation is the cast of The Mummy. Look at all these beautiful people.
100%.
So there you go, Sailor Twilight. This is for you. Also, just imagine Brandon Fraser in this. Because I need
that picture of Evie, though, is from the second movie.
I didn't make the meme.
I think that one of Ardith is from, because that one of Ardith as well is from the second movie, because that's in Evie and Rick's house.
Come on, people.
In England. Inconsistencies, because they're wearing a fancy jacket.
He is wearing the fancy jacket. Well, little do we know, this is also from the second movie. Like, Anoxino Moon is from the second movie. And then Imhotep,
she's got the gold bits in her hair. I don't think she had it in the first one.
I think like Imhotep's the only one from the first movie.
I think the Rick one, I don't think that's from either of the movies. I think that was just an on-set photo shoot.
As I said, I did not make the meme. I just
the face. No, that's fair. I'm just being a picky bitch. It's fine.
That's fine. Go make me a meme with the appropriate pictures, Em, so I can share.
I'll make one for both movies.
And then I can credit the meme maker because I will know who it is. Made my yeah. All right, so Em, now you're in the hot seat to do your outro.
Oh, okay. I suck at the outros. Okay, outro now. Just going.
Yeah, just go.
I'm Emily Olivieri. I have a book out. I have a crappy YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Chaos.
And I'm Matt Hollon. I'm a fantasy author working on my debut dark fantasy adventure novel. You can also find my writing in Sasha Black's The Rebel Diaries anthology. My pirate short story, The White Harvester, is in there, along with 12 other amazing villainy-esque stories. And you can find me on Sam's channel at least once a month, many a times too. And you can also follow me on all my social medias down there, where I'll be posting about anything I'm up to, really.
Give me one moment.
Buy The Rebel Diaries. It's $5 on Amazon for the e-book version.
My husband refused to wait for my long-ass intro for a goodnight kiss. And I don't blame him. It is a long out. Sorry. And I am writing mom Samantha L. Nasset. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer parent things. On Mondays, I host live streams, sometimes like this, where we talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. Next month, we will be talking about Ghostbusters and the fourth Sailor Moon movie. I also host write-ins, where we do productivity sprints, talk about writing, and just have a good time. Or about other things. I don't promise only writing on those. And when I do post, I did not bring a drink today. I'm dying. When I do post content, it will be on Thursdays. But I have a chronic illness, and so that's kind of on hiatus right now. If you would like to read a sample of my writing so that you can see that I am not full of shit when I talk about writing advice, you can go to my website, samanthaalnasset.com, where I have posted a flash fiction called Until Pizza Do Us Part. While you're there, if you would like to, you can sign up to my newsletter, where you can keep up to date with all things Sam and the writing event that I help run, which we're doing an announcement next Friday. So if you're not subscribed to the Worldwide Writeathon, I highly recommend it. If you would like to help support the stream, support the channel, you can like, subscribe, ring-a-ding that bell to be kept up to date of all of my notifications and posting. My brain is dying. I'm forgetting what I was going to say. And if you would like to, help tip, my Ko-fi is linked down below.
Give Sam money.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thanks for participating, and thanks for enjoying the show. Hope to see you around. Bye.
Bye.